So this one, number 3 then? 3.
Do we want to add another sentence to that point number 2 to bring in this idea? I just started working on some wording here. Something like, such expression shall not be forced upon others, but shall be presented in such a way that the recipient can choose not to listen, not to...
I think it's good. I think if you write a commentary on this, it'd be really good to put on, but I think it makes it a little bit too complex.
Because then there's a lot of other issues that need to be addressed too, like...
Yeah, we want to keep it as simple as possible.
About me.
Yeah, but I think this whole thing would be good to write an expansion commentary on eventually, and something like that would definitely fit in that.
The problem is, though, if you don't specify or at least allude somehow to this principle, then people can abuse that principle number 2. If, for example, if this were to be turned into a codified law for a country, then it would be a problem, because someone could take number 2 and they could do what Susan was describing. They'll put a megaphone on their car and they would not be able to stop it.
But there is a legal restriction on that, disturbing the peace.
Again, that's just, you're not distinguishing between property rights and political rights. I mean, I own the air over my house and my property, and you start invading that with invasive sound. We're talking about property rights.
How was your wording on that, what you wanted to add?
I was saying such expression shall not be forced upon others, but shall be presented in such a way that the recipient can choose not to participate.
Yeah, it's a good thought. I think it just makes it a little bit too long.
Look at number 6 and 13 and see. I support free speech, but do not impose my views on others.
Okay.
JJ, how about adding?
Where we could just say, however repulsive without legal restrictions or seeking to impose my will upon others.
What about one word?
Or my speech upon others.
What about one word that fixes the whole thing? The word reasonably in front of the word express. People won't be allowed to reasonably express.
Well, too much interpretation can get involved in that, yeah. You're being unreasonable, let's shut the guy up. Yeah. In other words, free speech allows you to be unreasonable. You know, a lot of people think we're unreasonable. Melba had a judge tell her that we sound like an unreasonable group, so her boy can't come out to the gathering. You know, so the unreasonable. These things, it's up to interpretation. They're really complicated. Yeah.
It seems to me, JJ, that the 6 words at the beginning of number 2 say it all. It seems we're discussing the principle of free speech here.
Yeah.
And if you use those 6 words as number 2, it may have been all said.
Yeah.
Your wording was after the first sentence of number 2, right?
I support free speech, but do not force my view on others.
Do not force my view on others.
Okay. Well, people can think about this and send me an email if you think you got a better wording. I'll look through it and pick the best combo of everything to put in there for the final. Okay. Number 3, I support the principle of freedom and work towards securing the greatest possible freedom for individuals and groups in every situation. I accept the principles of freedom enunciated in the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Do you think both parties would agree to that?
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Both parties give voice, claim to support the principle of freedom. But, okay, any comments on this one? In other words, the basic thought behind this is the greatest freedom for the greatest number of people should be what they support. Whereas the problem with the two political parties is they want freedom within their party above the freedom of the whole of the country. They want the freedom for them to only do what they want to do, okay? Rather than what's good for their country or for the world. So what we want to do is redirect their thinking from just their own little worlds of freedom to the freedom of the whole, which is the important thing,
I think you need to put that in here, though, the freedom of the whole, because my freedom, I think freedom and security are almost inversely proportional. And that may not be what you think of as freedom. My personal freedom is not what you mean here, I don't think. You mean the freedom of the whole is the best, what we want to work for, rather than my personal freedom.
Well, it's intertwined, really. Personal freedom, freedom of the whole, it all has to be expanded.
But what I think of as my freedom is different than what you think of as freedom. I think that, like I said, that the security is inversely proportional to freedom. If I want to be secure in my own home 100%, you're going to have to impose restrictions on my freedom. I can't go outside, or I have to lock my door, or I have to hire cops. And that's not necessarily what anybody else thinks of as their personal freedom. I don't know how to express what I'm trying to say. I think
Well, there's certain things that people don't have freedom to do. The burglar doesn't have freedom to go burglarize your house. We got to restrict him. So there's certain restrictions on freedom, and I think I covered this the way it's written. For the greatest possible freedom for individuals and groups in every situation. I said that. So in other words, the burglar is not, even though he feels it's his right to burglarize your house, he's taking away more freedom than he's giving. He's getting a little bit more freedom in his individual sphere, but he's taking away freedom of the whole. Okay? Yeah.
Right along with what Dan was saying, it sounds to me like there's a difference between freedom of action and freedom of security. I want to be free to act where I want to preserve my I want to be in control of my own security. And the only way I can be in control of my own security is if I have the freedom to act. So, like right now, a lot of our freedoms are going to be pulled away to make us safe. But then if you were going to make us completely safe, you stick us in a cell and nobody...
Well, freedom and safety are two different things.
Right, and that's right now that's a big thing in the world because 9/11 and all this stuff that's going on. People are saying, well, I want the freedom to walk down the street and feel safe and secure, but in order to do that...
Well, that's not a freedom. A freedom, being secure is not a freedom. Like the seatbelt law, for instance, what I talked about once before together, takes away some of our freedom to make us feel more secure. I don't agree with the seatbelt law myself. I think we should be educated to use it and have the freedom to buckle up or not. But the state wants to take away our freedom of thought and make us buckle up, make us quit smoking outside, make us do all kinds of these things. And the government just encroaches more and more on our freedom so that we, and they do it in the name of freedom. They say, well, you're going to be free from having accidents. Well, that's not freedom. We want to be free to have accidents. I mean, that's what real freedom is. Real freedom is the freedom to have an accident if you want. What's that?
Another passenger, if he's not looking on the seatbelt, he will move around in the accident and will kill all other passengers in the car. So, in order to protect the other passenger, he must also...
Yeah, he has that personal responsibility. Yeah.
So it should be enforced because it's much
Well, that's the responsibility of the driver to enforce it because it's his car. He can command the guy in the back seat to buckle up because it's his property. Yeah.
Okay, may I make a suggestion?
Right.
I think this is very important on the wording, okay? But I think there ought to be a committee that's really interested in this to sit down with you separately and go through all of this in the wording, and that many here would like to hear what you have to say and not. This almost feels like something that a committee or subgroup ought to be doing with you, so that we're here to gain as much knowledge from you as we can at this point in time. And that when we're helping you, we don't mind helping you with this, it's distracting from what we're really here to be learning.
Is distracting from what?
It's what we're really here to be learning from, getting from you as much knowledge as we can. because this is a sub-thing of the wording and the picking apart and whatever, and I think it's a group that needs to meet that's interested in this to help you with this aspect.
Yeah.
But this
So
is
is the group here interested in hearing the rest of these or not? What do you think?
Well, you just read through them maybe.
Yeah.
It's not just sitting there.
That might be good, man. It'll probably take longer than you thought to go through this because we're generating a lot of discussion.
Just read it through as you did it, and then you can, if somebody wants to change it, that's fine, but this is killing me. So. I'm sorry, but you know what, it is. And if anybody
Sounds good. Well, maybe Shirley can go home and turn around and all that.
I guess I'm not a politically minded woman, but I really am. I care, and I think your stuff here is great, but I'm not going to sit here and pull it apart. That's not who I am.
Okay,
I'll
well,
send you emails.
back to you. Yeah, certainly.
I don't think it's a suggestion that you not read it.
No, we won't have to read it, but let's not discuss each one and pull it apart.
Okay, let's read it over and we won't discuss it. But everybody can get a copy on the internet and you can email me suggestions.
Because I think this is good. I really like it.
No, there is discussion subject going to what else.
Okay, I'll read it over and we'll limit the discussion. Because like you say, not everybody's that interested in this subject.
We've got two ends of the spectrum here. One is just to read it, that'll take 5 minutes. One is to discuss it at length, that will take 5 years.
Yeah.
Let's go the middle way, which is, let's say, how much time do we have? You want to spend until noon on this. So let's see, how much time can we spend on each point, and let's.
Yeah, there's a plan on going beyond
And
noon.
when we get to the end of our time, we'll have somebody on the clock, we can go to the next point. That way, the discussion's good, we're getting to know each other, there's some good things that are happening there, but let's not read it to them. And that's, I think, what we're feeling, it's like, if we go at this rate, we'll be here
Well, this,
3 days on this.
Sterling, this is not the right forum for this.
That's right.
I'm not here to read this. Okay?
Okay.
A lot of us
A lot of us during trials
Okay.
and able to help.
We'll read it through and just
Understanding.
1 or 2 comments at the most, and then we'll just move on. Okay. Good idea. Number 4, I commit myself to sending goodwill and the spirit of friendship to all involved in the political process, especially those with differing political views. This is going to be a hard one in the present situation. Okay, you dictators, you got to send goodwill to Bush. You got to love Bush, and Bush has to love Jimmy Carter. So, and it's equally hard for a lot of people to love Clinton and send him goodwill. So,
Well, I think that the animosity.
okay. So we commit ourselves to just being nice to each other, basically.
Human kindness.
5, even though the majority may not always support my views, I realize that the majority view, when properly informed, rarely will lead us on the dangerous path. I therefore seek to honor the will of the people. When I disagree with the will of the people, I will not seek to forcibly control them or change them, but will use peaceful means to inform and educate them. In other words, the will of the people, one thing you notice in today's society, the common man on the street seems to be a lot smarter than the average politician. I mean, when you hear him interview, and except for the ones Jay Leno interviews, but a lot of just common people like us have more common sense as to what should be done than the Congress, which is controlled by pressure groups and leaders and everybody but representing the will of the people. 6, there are a number of issues which cause division, heated debate, and anger. Examples are abortion, gun control, social programs, drug legalization, military activities, and others. Most cannot be resolved in the near future through the conversion of one side to the other. It's important that they recognize they're not going to convert them. I support this unifying approach. To support the principle of fairness on controversial issues, both sides must be heard, even though the other side may be repulsive to me. For free speech and thought is the most important principle and prime directive of unification and ultimate peace. I therefore commit to the principle of fair play, realizing that both sides deserve to be heard and have their representatives in positions of power. And this is a big problem we have. Both sides are trying to to squelch the other side, so they can't be heard, so they can't, there can't be fairness in debate. They only want their side to be heard. So what they're committing to here is basically the principle of fair play. Let both sides be heard, let everybody be able to speak, let both views be put before the public. So if we don't like it, we can write our congressman and say, hey, I heard that and I don't like it. Okay. Oh, we're moving along pretty good here. 7, I believe in integrity and honesty and will seek to be truthful, no matter what the opponents do. I seek not to distort or lie for the benefit of my party or for personal gain. This is going to be tough for the politicians, isn't it? I mean, just to be honest.
Yeah, 6 rather.
Right. 8, I accept that we must be fiscally responsible and will do all in my power to create a balanced budget except in times of national crisis. I will only support social programs that can be funded or continued without increasing the burden to the taxpayer.
That sentence is going to be problematic.